introduction. And thank all of you for joining me today in McMullen on this gloomy October day. Yesterday we was 78 degrees outside. It might even got up to 85. It was beautiful, but here we go. This is what fall's like in Iowa. As college students at St. Ambrose University, many of us are also millennials. And we're all living in a world that is more connected than it ever has been before. Via your cell phones, your tablets, social media, no matter what, you're connected to everyone. You can see things across the United States and even across the world. As a result of all of this, you all are aware of the protests that took place in St. Louis a few years ago. According to an article written by Ben Ungsley, a reporter for the St. Louis Business Journal, the value of the buildings destroyed during the St. Louis riots totaled $4.6 million. Over the last 5 years, all of us have seen a rise in protests, riots, and they have also been escalating in severity. In an effort for you to all better understand the effects that protests can have on communities and people around the world, I'll explain to you my story that I have from an interaction with a protest. On a Saturday in 2014, my wife and I decided to visit the Mall of America in Minnesota for our first time. Much to our surprise, this did not go the way we planned. It was probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We had drove five and a half hours up there. We had got there at like one or so. And we were in the mall for 20 minutes probably. We walked in, they have the roller coasters in there. There's like 9 attractions inside, not counting the hundreds of stores that are in this place. But we walked in, there was kids playing on a little merry-go-round and that. And, it's pretty cool, my wife and I thought. But I'm like, we'll wait to do the roller coaster a little while. Let's go look at some of the stores, we got all day to be here. So we walked through. My wife stopped in a couple clothing stores, and I kind of sat out in the hallway like many guys do when their girlfriends go shopping or wives go shopping. And then we went to my store. I wanted to go to the Carhartt store because we don't have one of those around here. And I was really looking for an excellent jacket, a nice suede jacket, zip up. That's just the kind of thing I like. We went in there and I had found one that I really, really liked. It was big enough, fit me, and it was long enough for in the wintertime, cold air wouldn't get up underneath my jacket on me. And I had decided on it. It was fairly expensive, but it was a very nice jacket and I'd have it forever. But I didn't want to carry it around the rest of the day with me. So I decided, I'm like, let's hold off on this. We can go into other stores and I'll just come back and get it after we're done shopping at the end of the day. So we decided to leave. We were going to go somewhere else. We no sooner than got out the door of the store, and store managers were pushing people out behind us. And I'm like, what's going on? And they pulled the security gate down behind them. And I asked them, hey, what's going on? And they're like, we don't know. We were told to shut the gates. At this time, a security guard comes by and says, hey, we're locking the mall down. You guys need to leave. And I'm like, whoa, why? What's going on? He wouldn't say anything. He's like, you just need to leave. Need to leave. And the guy kept right on going. He never stopped talking to me. At this point, I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Well, it didn't take long, and we had discovered that there was a Black Lives Matter movement protest there that day. And okay, we'll leave. We'll do what they say. Trying to get out, we hit a wall of people at the entrance that we had came in. We're on the side of the mall that they were at. And I'm like, okay, we just got to get out of here. No big deal. Couldn't get out. Doors were blocked. And I'd never been there before. My wife had never been there before. I had no idea where I was. Didn't know the layout. So what did I do? I had to pull up a directory on my phone to find out where I was in the mall to try to find an exit so I could get out of here, to find a different way out around us. Well, we were on the second story at this time. And we ended up on our way to get out of here. We went past an overlook. And there's hundreds and hundreds of people in the hallways below us, packed wall to wall, walking through the mall, and at this time all of the gates had been locked, all the stores were closed. And then you see, like on TV, you know, you see protests and SWATs there with their body shields, their nightsticks, blocking the way. They wouldn't let them pass this point into the rest of the mall. I'm like, whoa, you know, this is much more serious than what I thought it was. And at that point, I'm like, well, we gotta go. We're getting out of here. And the whole time while they were down there, they were chanting Black Lives Matter, of course, and they were saying no justice, no peace. They chanted this over and over again. And when we went outside, they still were. There was thousands of more people outside as we were walking to our vehicles. This really opened my eyes. This was an experience I'd never had before. I'm from a small town in Iowa, 500 people. So this was, and let alone going to Minneapolis was a huge thing in itself. But then I ran into this. I'd never experienced this before. This was the first time in my life that I had feared for my safety and my wife's. Because the tensions were high because of recent events in St. Louis and in Baltimore. I didn't know what to expect. Thankfully, we got out of there, no muss, no fuss, walked back to our car, and we left for the day. According to the survey, many of you said that you were familiar with what protests were, and that you had never seen one in person other, you know, possibly on YouTube or on social media you had seen videos of them. I'm telling you, in person does not do them justice. Does not do them justice. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, a protest is the act of objecting or a gesture of disapproval, in which all of us have that right to disagree and make it known. Martin Luther King Jr. is probably one of the most famous protesters in history anywhere, not just American history, probably in the world. He said, "But I am also concerned about the moral uprightness and the health of our souls. Therefore, I must oppose any attempt to gain our freedom by the methods of malice, hate, and violence that have characterized our oppressors." In this event, I can't say it was a completely peaceful protest. It was absolutely illegal. They were on private property and had no right to be there. And they shut them all down, costing the mall hundreds of thousands of dollars with stores being closed the whole day. Rob Willer, a sociologist at Stanford University, stated, "A prototypical extreme protest is something where vandalism occurs or violence is threatened or protesters behave in a violent way or an interstate highway gets shut down." In my case, nobody got hurt. There were 20 arrests, I believe, made by people that did not want to leave when SWAT was forcing them out. But it happens. That was what it was. But in a case, not all protests are bad, as we know from Martin Luther King Jr. There is an effective way to communicate your message publicly. Margaret Mead, an anthropologist at the American Museum of Natural History, stated, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world." And this is exactly what Martin Luther King Jr. did over and over again. He held several peaceful protests that really made a difference in the world. Started off as a small group of people and turned into the movement that it was. Does this look like a peaceful protest to any of you? This is an image from St. Louis after the Michael Brown case down there in 2014, I believe. Do you think their message was heard the way they intended it to be heard? I think not. Looking back at this experience that my wife and I had on a Saturday afternoon, the only thing I can remember is the negative experience or negative interaction that I had with this Black Lives Matter group. At that time, I did not care about their message because their actions, behavior were so offstandish to me and affected me, made me fear for my safety and my wife's, that I didn't care what they had to say. Even if you have an honest and thoughtful opinion to share, the delivery and your actions while delivering that message will decide whether they hear the message the way you want it to be heard or in a skewed manner. Thank you.